to make a quick video because I've been asked actually a lot about our trip. Actually, I've been reached out to probably by 10 different people asking where we went, where we stopped. And while we're driving around aimlessly, I thought I would take some time and just kind of give you an overall highlight. First, we watched a lot of videos. We did a month and a half worth of research, and I didn't really do the research. Gerry did, but anyway, so we planned this trip about a month and a half out, and this is one of those trips where we knew we wanted to take a trip in October. We just didn't know what we wanted to do, and he has been out east before. I have not, and I've always wanted to go, especially around birthday season or fall season is what I called it. So what we did is on Saturday, this last Saturday, we flew into Boston. If you're a Des Moines local, we did Delta. We had a 2-hour layover in Minnesota Saturday and then got into Boston about about 4 o'clock. We got delayed a little bit on Saturday, and then we basically went to our hotel. We stayed in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is right there in Boston. But we got up super early Sunday morning and did pretty much all the touristy stuff. Now, about 3 days out of this trip, or prior to this trip, they were looking at a tropical storm hitting the area, or a nor'easter. Ironically, it was called Gerry. But it didn't really happen. There was some wind, and I think today's the first day I'm using my sunglasses. So it hasn't been too bad. Just some light drizzle, nothing too bad, honestly. I'm from Iowa, so unless it's 20 inches of snow, then I'm okay. But we did all the touristy stuff in Boston. I had a hoodie on and a windbreaker, and that was perfect, absolutely perfect. But we did the Freedom Trail, which stops at all the touristy locations, and then just kind of walked our way around. We pretty much only took public transit once and walked 12 miles, which is nothing. It is something, obviously, but both me and him went to New York in April and walked 10 miles 2 days in a row. And so in the pouring rain, in April is pouring rain. So this was honestly nothing. Yes, our feet hurt at the end of the day, but it wasn't too bad. But we did use public transport once. And their subway system was pretty easy to use if you're familiar with subways at all. Pretty much the same thing. I let him navigate it and figure it out for me, but from what I saw, if you've been to New York or a bigger city, it's the same stuff. But anyways, we went back, got back to our room about 6 p.m. on Sunday night, and then woke up early on Monday and rented a car and started driving. We decided to really focus on New Hampshire, or Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont as our destinations this trip. But from the Boston airport where we rented our car, we drove through Newburyport, and then Hamilton Beach, where I got a shit ton of sand in my because it was windy. We stopped to get a picture of the the ocean, and I opened my eyes for 1 second, and it was just which I don't think we'll have a problem with that today. But then we drove through Kennebunkport, which we didn't stop. We literally just pulled into a parking lot and turned around. But that's where the Bush compound is, the Bush family. And then our first night stop was Scarborough, Maine. And that was a little Airbnb on the ocean. It was super pretty. It was cold. I got some oyster shells from the ocean. But We did do our research on the Airbnbs. This was a little tiny condo where it had a loft and it was super small. We both didn't sleep good that night, which we have learned, but next time probably a hotel room if we're in that area. But then from that morning, we drove the Kankamungus Highway through New Hampshire. Now, if you type Kankamungus into Google, YouTube, whatever, this is like the it.
Hold on. You skipped the Portland Lake.
Oh, I skipped.
Portland, Maine.
I wrote down. Anyways, okay. So back up. So we woke up from Scarborough, Maine, and then we went and saw the most photographed lighthouse in the world. Is it the world? Most likely. Which was really pretty. So we woke up at sunrise and drove an hour to that. And that was really cool, especially seeing the ocean. It literally looked just like a movie. Sorry, there was a guy in the road. So we did that, and then what did we do? Portland, Maine.
Holy Donut.
Oh, the Holy Donut. Okay, so the Holy Donut, I guess it's only been around since 2012, but according to a lot of YouTube bloggers, they're like world famous potato donuts. Supposedly they even ship. They were good. I liked them. We got 4 donuts between the two of us. We love blueberry lemon stuff. We were in New York in April of this year and had blueberry lemon ricotta pancakes that we wrapped up. Lemon ricotta, not blue.
And so at Sarah Beth's we had the lemon ricotta pancakes,
and that was in New York.
And at Starbucks Reserve we had the blueberry lavender donut.
There you go. So much blueberry. Anyways, they had a blueberry lemon donut, a toasted coconut one, and then just a regular blueberry. And what was that 4th one I got? I can't remember.
Yeah, birthday cake or something.
Yeah, it was a generic one, but it was good. So we did that, and then I got on the road and did the all-day excursion of the Kankamungus Highway. And it's just a 35-mile highway through New Hampshire, but it has a lot of pull-offs for people wanting to go on hikes. It has historic covered bridges, all of that good stuff. But we stopped for lunch at the end of it and got a burger and fries from, I think it was Black Mountain restaurant. But it was a restaurant that had super good reviews. I think there was only 5 restaurants in the area. But we pulled up other activities to do in the area and decided to take a tram up the mountain, up the White Mountains, or Cannon Mountain, which is a notorious ski lodge. And it was really foggy and rainy, but we did a walk along the trail about a mile around the trail, which was kind of scary, but there was a lot of even older people doing it, so I knew I could make it through without falling off the mountain. Anyways, it would have been prettier if it was a day like this and not super foggy or anything like that. But that night we stayed in, I think, one of my favorite stays from this trip, which was in Lincoln, New Hampshire. We stayed at this little cabin. It was on Airbnb, but it looks like on TripAdvisor that you could probably book direct with them. But it backed right up to a river that had the picturesque rocks and stuff like that in it, which was what we saw along the trail the entire day. But that was in Lincoln, New Hampshire. And then we woke up the following morning, got Dunkin' Donuts for the second time this trip, and drove to Vermont, which was about an hour and a half drive to Stowe, the Stowe area, excuse me. Vermont's not very big, but we did all the touristy stuff in Vermont, and that was my birthday, where we stopped at Ben and Gerry's. We did the factory tour, which is pretty cool. We did lunch at the Von Trapp Family Lodge, which ironically we had both just seen in theaters like a month ago, and then I read the book, which the book, if you haven't read the book, read the book, because it's a whole different story than what they tell you in the movie. But it was a pretty interesting place. The food at the restaurant was pretty good. It was a little pricey, I think, for what you got, but the views were gorgeous, and it can be turned into an all-day excursion. Like, they have like cows and sheep on the property and like trails, but we chose to not to because our Airbnb was still an hour and a half out of town. So we kind of wanted to get there so we could start laundry and stuff like that. But that's where we stayed last night, and now we're kind of doing our whole route in reverse, and going back to Boston tonight to spend the night and fly out tomorrow morning. But I know that was 11 minutes of me rambling. However, I do have a few questions I'm going to ask me and Gerry. So number one, I'll let Gerry answer this first, but what was your favorite stop on the trip and why?
Favorite stop? Boy, that's tough. I would say that it's probably going to be probably that spot we stopped on the highway on the Kankamagas to take pictures along the river, because we were just kind of driving by, and you're driving by and you're constantly seeing things, and you're like, oh my god, that didn't make a great picture, oh that didn't make a great picture, but you're on a 2-lane highway being tailgated by people that are doing 10 over and want to do 20 over, and they don't care about what you're looking at. But I was driving along and I kind of looked over and saw this one spot, and fortunately there was a turnout, so we hiked a little bit back to it and took some pictures, a little video, and I think that's probably it as far as favorite stop.
Okay. My favorite stop, I think, was not only that, like pretty much everything we've stopped at has been pretty good, but I'm going to vote for the Von Trapp Family Lodge, only because I had recently read the book. I wish I would have done more research on the lodge itself, because I think it would have been cool to be able to go up and pet like Highland cows and stuff like that, but I didn't realize that until like last night. I was laying in my Airbnb and got on the side of TikTok where they're like, you can do this and that, but just the views and just knowing the history of the family was pretty cool. So question number 2, what surprised you most about New England?
Well, I would say that what surprised me the most so far is I wasn't expecting there to be quite so many mountains in and around things, which I knew that we were going to be going into mountains, but I expected it to be a little more hilly and not quite so, it's not the Rockies, but you still have quite a bit of elevation change in some spots.
So, I agree. I didn't really even know we were going into mountains, but one thing I think I wasn't expecting was Vermont to be so pretty. Like, it's just legit like a fall. Like, it would be interesting to see this in the summer and winter, but I didn't really think that Vermont was this pretty. Like, you've heard of Vermont. However, I think what surprised me is just the views. Like, Vermont is a constant, just like picturesque landscape of
that entire time she was talking, I was navigating my way around through tunnels of trees with river, like with rocks, you know, water flowing over the rocks alongside the entire time. So, yeah, that's just kind of, then you get into these small towns, and there's a small town like every 2 or 3 miles, and you go through it, and then you're off onto the next one. So, and then more trees and more river and more mountains and more everything.
So yeah, so Vermont, I definitely, like, if I could sell everything I own and move to Vermont, I would move to Vermont tomorrow. Probably. Except the winters probably suck, so maybe not. Okay, so question number 3, if you could go back tomorrow to a place that we visited, where would you go?
Well, joke's on you, because we're going back to everywhere today. Don't have to wait for tomorrow. But I would say that, again, I really like the Kancamagus Highway, but if we're talking about a specific place that I would like to go back to, that'd be Little Italy in Boston, because we managed to make it through there at a very busy time in the middle of the day, and we didn't get a single cannoli.
I am very disappointed about the lack of cannolis, and I was thinking of that this morning.
However, Mike's Pastries has a cannoli kit that they ship through Goldbelly, so I have a feeling that somebody's going to be ordering that.
All right. The Kancamagus Highway was pretty cool, which I'm glad we're going back to. However, we met this really cool lady in a shop in, what's that, Newburyport?
That was Newburyport, called Partridge in a Bear Tree.
And I was like, I mean, it was like 9:30 in the morning. It was super windy and cold, and we had just stopped for coffee. And I was like, is this place even going to be open? Is it too early? And we stopped in. It was a little gift shop. It had Christmas ornaments, stuff like that. But she talked to us and told us about
Route 1A going up along the coast.
Yeah.
I didn't know New Hampshire had a coast.
And she was just like, she was older, and she was just super kind, and was just like, go this route if you want to see fancy mansions, a coast, and like, that made our entire trip. I think that started everything, like our official like trip, because we had literally just picked up the car like an hour and a half earlier, off on the right foot. So just meeting her, and in fact, I mailed out a postcard that I got from the shop with a note back home to ourselves saying, we met this really cool lady in this random gift shop that gave us like the best tip and suggestion for the entire trip. So yeah, so if I could go back, it would be to start or to that store, which we're gonna pass through again today, and just like thank that lady. All right, so last question I have is, what was your best meal or snack so far on the trip?
This is kind of a tough one. Okay, so brief overview. I would say that, you know, the clam chowder in Boston was pretty good, and the donuts in Portland were pretty good. They're Casey's Cake Donuts that they mixed potato buds into the dough on, like, I'm convinced. And then, you know, we've had a few things, but I think that the best one overall, I know you think the stuff was overpriced, but at Von Trapp Family Lodge, I had a Wiener Schnitzel with a lingonberry jam and spetzel and cabbage, and it was really good. And it took me, I don't know, about 20 minutes to eat that thing, and I wasn't exactly going slow and savoring, but that was really good. I think that's probably my favorite. I don't think there's anything that we've had that was bad on this trip, but it was, you know, the fish and chips in Boston was pretty good. The breakfast that we had there at that Cafe Beatrice, I would say that the only thing that wasn't, you know, 100% might have been the cheesesteak pizza that we got the night that we first got in. But it was raining. We just, you know, left the hotel room, popped into a CVS, right? But yeah, I would say that I've been pretty happy with everything we've had so far.
I vote. I'm gonna go. So the Von Trapp family. So I had a bratwurst with fingerling potatoes, and it was literally just a bratwurst on a plate cut up. It was good. It was good. But we we had a cheese plate for an appetizer. They had apple jam on that, and I had it on a cracker. It was homemade apple jam. I had it on a cracker with some brie. That was really good, which that's generic. But then we stopped at a place in Maine, in Scarborough.
Ken's Place.
Yep, Ken's.
I forgot about Ken's Place.
Ken's Diner, and that's where we had a lobster roll, which I wouldn't mind getting a lobster roll again. We'll see, but that was really good. It was a little small, but it was good. It was good, and a little pricey because it's lobster. But we also had clam chowder there. However, we had clam chowder in Boston at, I think, just a chain restaurant, but that was probably better clam chowder. Anyways, so that was my favorite.
Hey, I have a question for you. What was your biggest tourist trap moment?
Probably Stowe, Vermont. Just the downtown area. So me and him have been joking. It's like somebody came to Stowe, Vermont and put Galena, or from Galena, Illinois. It was like, I wanted a Stowe, Vermont in Galena, Illinois. And it's like cliche small town, but however, it wasn't that epic. Like,
they got a Starbucks.
They have a Starbucks. And yeah, and an old church that looks like it's probably been in every New England movie. Whatever. Anyways, it was generic, had like 4 touristy shops. We spent way too much money on magnets, and shirts and sweatshirts. Not my problem. Not my fault. Not my fault. But, I mean, that was it. Like, if you've ever been to any touristy town like Waldrug or anything like that, it's a tourist trap. But still, fun to say that we've been there. But yeah, the Ben and Jerry's tour and the Von Trapp, Ben and Jerry's and the Von Trapp Family Lodge, I feel like were definitely worth it for being in that area. Like, especially the Ben and Jerry's tour was like $6 a person. It only lasts like 15 minutes, but just to say that you did it, done it, it was pretty cool. So yeah, so that's the highlights of our trip so far. I didn't mean to make this into a 22-minute video. Is there anything else you would like to add, Gerry?